Hello, everyone that's already joined us. Just going to maybe give it one more minute while people come in. In the meantime, if you care to share your name and where you're connecting from today, it's always nice to see where people are and where they're sitting across the globe. I am sitting in just outside of Lisbon, Portugal. So what we're going to do today is we are going to present the BlueMissionAA project, and but also we really want to have a very interactive session today because we're going to cover a lot about stakeholder engagement. So we're looking forward to your contributions and your shares in today's webinar. So I'm going to get started and I will share my screen here. And let me put that in presentation mode and hopefully all will go smoothly. Okay, so hopefully you're seeing the presentation mode as well. So welcome. As I said, this is the BlueMissionAA project, and it is part of the mission Restore Our Ocean and Waters. So, whoop, that goes fast, or I've got a very jittery finger. So, what is the EU Restore Our Ocean and Waters by 2030? For those that might not know, it's an ambitious EU initiative designed to restore the health of our oceans and waters by 2030. While addressing critical environmental challenges through innovative solutions. So this BlueMissionAA supportive program supports the European Green Deal, the vision of for a greener, healthier, and more resilient continent. And also the implementation occurs through 4 lighthouses, otherwise known as the Coordination, Support, and Action Projects deployed at sea and river basin scale across European waters. So and we are just one of those lighthouses. So there's 3 main objectives of the Ocean Waters mission. The first one being protect and restore ecosystems, the second being eliminate pollution, and the third being sustainable blue economy. And before I go on, I forgot to introduce myself. Apologies. My name is Valerie DeLita-Kirk, and I am the coordinator of the BlueMissionAA project. I'm also the head of ocean policy here at the Atlantic International Research Center, which leads the project. So what is the BlueMissionAA? So as I mentioned, it is a coordination and support hub, which is going to support and help implement those objectives that you just saw. Our main objectives is really providing leadership. And the project is, so the timeline of the project started in November 2022 and goes to October 2025. So we're actually going to be ending in just about 2 or 3 days here. And we're really building a community. It's a multidisciplinary community of researchers, policymakers, and businesses here in this project. So the consortium is made up of 15 partners, primarily all research institutes and innovation centers from 8 countries, and very multidisciplinary expertise from ocean policy to marine science, innovation, and governance specialists. Here's the structure of the partners. So these are all the organizations involved. And as I mentioned, the Atlantic International Research Center is leading the project and co-management with the SPI, Sociedad Portuguesa de Innovación. What I just will cover here quickly is some very main achievements. Big achievements for us was getting the ASCP award for Healthy Oceans and Resilient Coasts for our project. We also have 90 demonstration sites across the Atlantic and Arctic via our innovative action projects and other Horizon Europe projects. Our framework aligns 100% with the governance and monitoring frameworks that align with EU mission goals and policy requirements. And I'm particularly very happy that we are also endorsed by the UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development. Our main focus here is obviously on the ecosystem preservation and climate resilience. We also focused a lot on governance frameworks, which we'll cover in more depth, also monitoring and reporting systems, and knowledge sharing and innovation, which also encompasses the citizen engagement. And now I'm going to hand off to one of my colleagues here, Oliver Wilson. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Valerie, and thank you everyone for joining us. My name's Oliver Wilson. I represent the Marine Institute in Ireland, and for the Blue Mission AA project, I'm the work package leader for work package 1, which is focused around governance. But I'm going to give a brief overview of our ecosystem innovation pipeline, and then talk specifically about a couple of our achievements and areas of activity during the duration of the project. So first off, just would like to set the scene in terms of BlueMissionAA as a springboard. It's a springboard as a coordination support action for others to succeed, the platform for others to succeed. And the way that we've set up and undertaken BlueMissionAA is the methodology is a very pragmatic approach whereby we are mapping and assessing, setting our baseline of innovation actions within our Lighthouse. And then we've set up a dashboard and a catalog that helps people connect and building that innovation community to share and benefit from each other in terms of solutions. And that alongside some of the areas I'm about to talk about develops us this innovation ecosystem. As I say, it's an ecosystem that's supported by the CSA, but really is there as a CSA being there to help others succeed. So the CSA success is based on the success of the innovation actions being able to move forward into this replication and scale it up section. Valerie, next slide, please. And so one of the big challenges for innovators, as I'm sure many of you on the webinar will be aware of, is that is moving from research through to market entry. And so BlueMissionAA has developed tools both to help people in their research area, has worked with projects in the pilot phase to develop frameworks and mechanisms so that we can move from this pilot line, this venture capital area where industry and government or private finance are helping to fund pilot projects, but to actually jump across the gap into market entry. And so to do that, we have actually set up a couple of different tools, such as responsible and sustainable research reflection tools. And these are designed and all available on our website, designed to help innovators transition from innovation through to business as usual, where they can demonstrate impact. So that was our focus, is bridging the gap in terms of finance. And then Valerie, the next slide, please. In terms of the bridging the gap, in addition to helping finance, we've actually created this community under an online platform called Wavelengths. So this is an open and free access platform. And the key here is that actually it gives the ability for innovators to go and find connections with other projects, with solutions, with citizen science, and indeed linking in through funding opportunities, which again links us back to the previous slide related to bridging that gap to market access. So the way that BlueMissionAA has always been working is that each of the individual work packages and work streams have been building on each other in a supportive manner, so that we are getting a collective cumulative benefit that is greater than the sum of its parts. And so this is the community that is available for people to go and explore and find potential future opportunities. An example being the new Cascade grant projects that the EU has released, where they are trying to bridge that finance gap to market access by using CSAs, but where CSAs bring the funding closer to communities. Things like wavelengths will be vital for making sure that there's impact through that funding revenue source. Next slide, please, Valerie. And then the next part that was a huge focus of our work was around monitoring and impact. Now, innovation is that until we can demonstrate impact, and then that's when people really start buying into it. And so the key from the Blue Missions Consortium's perspective was actually working alongside the EEA and the Mission Secretariat to actually establish a framework, a PESTLE and theory of change framework, to drive the theory of change from early adopters through to wide adoption using this PESTLE of theory of change. The idea being that not all projects will have qualitative results that you can demonstrate impact. And so we recognize that and have been setting up a framework to support innovators when they go for funding or when they're speaking to policymakers, that they can actually demonstrate their impact in a range of ways. And I think we'll talk about it with citizen engagement later on, but talking the language to the person that you're engaging with. And this PESTLE and theory of change framework that we've set up and is expanded and advanced on through our resources on our website is the manner in which people can achieve that. So we can essentially set up a system where there's transformative accountability and clear impact of the work that we're doing. Next slide, please, Vanna. And then encompassed in all of this is obviously governance. And so from a governance side of things, we've reviewed innovation projects within our Atlantic and Arctic Lighthouse. We've done a baseline study to see where the barriers and drivers are associated with governance. And we've picked out specific case studies that we've worked with to identify what we term as golden nuggets, things that other restoration projects could utilize to further their initiatives, utilizing the resources that we provide through the CSA. And so as part of that, we've had 2 webinars. You can see the links here, and the links are also available on our website, and they're available on YouTube should you wish to go back and look at it. And so we've specifically looked at moving governance to an ecosystem-based, impact-driven governance framework where you embed restoration into the national thought processes and decision-making processes, where you integrate decision-making so that stakeholders are engaged and connected at all stages, very much along more of a co-governance model and engagement with stakeholders across all stages. So this work package, and the work package I was leading, brings in all of the other tools that people are providing and has produced reports to show how moving forward a CSA governance model can incorporate the resources to support innovators to replicate and scale up, to bridge those gaps, whether it be a finance gap or a community gap. Thank you very much. I think that's my last slide, Valerie, and segue to citizen engagement. Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, I think it's my turn. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Septian Setiawan. I'm here representing my company. It's Sociedade Portuguesa de Inovação. I'm joining you from Porto, from Portugal, and we are the leader of the task 5.2 in terms of citizen engagement. As part of the focus of BlueMissionAA project, we are kind of trying to develop, so our focus is on identification and perform ideation, and also obviously organization of the citizen engagement and citizen engagement itself. And also we try to provide some bring some kind of societal impacts, not only just to specific stakeholders, but mostly we focus on the citizen by empowering citizens to engage actively on our mission, ocean and waters. And then obviously we try to engage. I would like to ask them to participate in approach with our mission ocean. And obviously, the third one is on the awareness and also try to provide some education materials to citizens. And then the last one is on the community stewardship. We're here try to provide you with some kind of our previews and also some activities that we have done in the during the 3 years of our project. We try to categorize them based on our creative ideation and also maybe like a best practices that we can try to offer to all the audiences, and it can be also be used to the next activities that all participation participants or also all the European stakeholders that who would like to at least engage with us and also to use our materials that we have produced in the next 3 years. And we're going to explain it to you at least a bit more about this. Could you please move on the next slide, please? Yeah, our citizen engagement consists not only just by in person but also in online format. And the first one and also second of our student engagement is part of networking Fridays, when we engage researchers and also some innovators in marine and also ocean restoration. We would like to get and also learn from their experiences in protection our ocean and waters. And then the next one is about our ideation in the terms of creativity by engaging general public. So we have done at least several citizen engagement when it comes to providing and also developing stickers, mission stickers, and also video campaigns. We have collaborated with our sister project, Climberers, when we engage not only just the specific stakeholders, but we go directly and deeper into specific areas like hotels and tourism, where we develop our uh, stickers and at least put them exactly on the hotels where people not exactly directly engage with them. And then we have other types of citizen engagement. Could you please move a bit? Yeah. It is one of based on different targets of our audiences. We also develop any kind of awareness to the next generation of next generations by providing some kind of workshop in how we develop in any type of digital campaigns. When we try to engage some students from Amsterdam and also the neighbor countries specifically, and it was done during as part of the Blue Mission Bonus Mission Arena in Amsterdam. And yeah, we in this occasion we also collaborate with other project, Prep for Blue, and obviously it's not we cannot do it without any support from our partners in BlueMissionAA project. The next slide, please. Yeah, it is one of our creative materials that we have produced during the project itself. And we try, since we are focusing on the ocean literacy, so we have tried to develop this unique booklet that we have translated into at least 3 different language in Spanish, English, and also in Portuguese. And then we have launched this exactly during the EMD in my country 2024 in World Ocean Days in Azores, where we engage not only just children but also their families to engage with us. And then this material was also presented in some other activities in Macaro Night, starting from the beginning of the project 2023, and obviously until the end of the end of the project itself in 2025. Next slide, please. Then, yeah, we're not only just developing a ocean literacy booklet, but we try to engage at least different type of targets. When we have a workshop with some smaller children, and then it's kind of bit difficult when we try to engage with them with different type of creative activities, since children are mostly active and they cannot just stand still to listen to us. So we try different approach by providing them with active joint activities by using this storytelling and also mural painting, where we try to bring ocean literacy by storytelling and participation of these smaller children into giving kind of message to the ocean, what they think about the ocean and what should we do to protect our ocean. Next slide, please. And it is one of the type of our engagement by we try to develop murals into awareness of our ocean and waters by into the arts. And we develop this with strong support from our partners from UCC, where we also participated in the part of EMD in my country in 25, and also Kokabur Festival, where we bring this community mural for ocean restoration into arts. And then the last one, I think, we have this also other activities in terms of providing a bigger children in workshop in blue economy, and also other creative activities by providing them with card games that we develop in Portuguese. And we did it exactly during the summer school in Portugal, where we engage bigger children and we try to develop any kind of engaging activities to collect and also to invite their participation into our workshop, when we identify also providing them with ocean literacy in the interesting way. And yeah, I think that's all from my side. So I would give to our colleague Baiba.
Super. Thank you very much, Septian. And it's always wonderful to hear what has happened. So I'm always learning from my colleagues again, what diversity of activities we have all done as part of Blue Mission AA. I am actually dialing at the moment from airport. So my apologies in case you hear some announcements, but that's the spirit of our team. And I am from University College Cork, and I'm going to explain you some of the activities we have done as part of Blue Mission AA. And one of those you see now, and actually this is the final weekly hour, which already Patricia mentioned in the chat, that this is sort of a closing, and there has been 38 sessions with so many wonderful speakers from citizen literacy experts, from art and science, tidal arts and part art for oceans and waters were recently. I can also take this opportunity to mention that tidal arts actually have a residency call open until 15th of November, just pointing that out. There have been speakers from restoration activities, from projects of Mission Ocean, and with the same spirit of helping the ocean to recover. So there is a QR code to follow that, and this is a great resource also for educators, as there are quite a few learnings to pick on. So enjoy that resource, which will be there for long. If we go to the next slide, we will see another activity. And already Septian mentioned the ocean mural into the reefs, but we also made something fantastic. We did a podcast with diverse speakers from street artists to citizen scientists and to researchers. We were sharing stories about what it takes to collaborate when it comes to mixing art and science. But what was incredible about this podcast, and I invite you to listen to it, is that there were sort of hands-on reflections of what you can do, any of you, being a citizen scientist yourself or a researcher, how can you make your own little groups? So there's lots of these little snapshots of what people would encourage to do to help the ocean and the coast from far places or at your own local coast. So I really promote this this podcast, which is also available on our YouTube channel, and you can see it here, the QR code as well. If we go to the next one, which is another sort of recent initiative, which was taking place this spring as part of European Maritime Days. And it was a sharing from fisherwomen, a fisherman, and a Navy captain, a former Navy captain, and they shared a story about their connection to sea and to the ocean. And it actually happened in a local cafe. And now you can hear a little bit of foreign language, which is my own native language, which is Latvian. I'm not going to translate that, but you can hear that in the background. But what I would like to emphasize with this video was that there was this beautiful setting, unusual setting, which we really wanted to show to everyone that it's possible to go outside sort of the academic building and be in a sort of a local environment. And there were lots of people we didn't know before, which were keen to listen to this wonderful story of these three speakers. At the end, we actually joined a singing this sort of a sea spirit from the fishermen's world. And what is also particular interesting, maybe also for the audience as such, is that we brought this sort of method, as we wanted to call, to the Swiss Citizen Science Conference, and we actually shared what it takes to go outside our own boundaries, sort of our own academic wall, and sort of be a bit vulnerable in a way, because this event took place where anyone could come in and even listen outside. There were speakers at the cafe where everyone passing by could listen to these stories and stop. So it was definitely a very beautiful event to remember. And again, there is this availability for this video to be viewed on YouTube channel. And I can also see that Patricia is putting some of the links in the chat. Thank you for that. And another thing is, we are, as part of this team, we do hands-on. So we actually came up with an initiative called Find Where Found, which is a collaboration with many. Among those is Tidal Arts team, of course, us, BlueMissionAA, and Spotter on Citizen Science app platform. And what we did was, we basically, when we find seaweed at the coast, which is washed, we sometimes see them, or there's a sort of a saying, plant blindness. And with Catriona, one of my colleagues in the picture as well, we talked about there is a seaweed blindness, that we actually see so much sort of something at the coast, but there is so much diversity, as you can see in this beautiful poster. And so what we did was, we collected them, we geolocated them in the Cozy Citizen Science app, and everyone can know where it was picked and how in a timeline it actually changed to this artwork, as we call it, which is a method of making a herbarium. And it did get a wonderful attention. It was displayed in several events, including the recent Argus Summit and European Maritime Day. If you were there in Cork, you saw them as well. And of course, one thing I really want to emphasize, that Ellen Hutchin is one of the Irish first female botanists, and she was a true inspiration for us to actually combine her spirit of bringing art and science and discovery. So this is an initiative we are quite proud, and that every one of us can co-join and become citizen scientists again, but also just it truly gave us this idea that you can initiate small things, and at the end it becomes something people want to see and learn from. So yeah, again, something I wanted to point out is also that there is a seaweed poetry, and this is, I'm turning to Valeria to see if we have a bit of time to experiment with our audience. I think I see a positive sign, and there is this intervention, again, I would like to call it, is something called like a little 11-word poem, which is actually called Elfians, which is a German version of haiku. And what I would like you to invite, and do not be scared, it takes 5 minutes, so bear with me. I would like you to make a poem with me for your own for your own sharing. It would be great to read them in the chat when you do that. But basically, I will really guide you. So it takes 5 minutes maximum, top. And we have tried it in big events as well. So, you know, it's not the first experiment. So trust me fully. I can see Oliver smiling, so it's a good sign. So the trust is there. So there is this question about how do you feel when you are near an ocean and sea? This is a guiding question, but any artwork is a freedom. So do not stick on it to that type of thinking. But I would invite you now to think about the first line of a word which is like an adjective, like anything which resonates. One word. So you can point in your papers the first line, one word. I give you a second. Now, when you have had this one word, we go to the second line, which is 2 words, which basically is a noun with an article, like a or the sun. I don't want to, you know, influence your thinking, but second line is 2 words. I give you a moment there as well. And then we have the third line, which is very easy. It's basically means 3 words now, and it's an action of that previous line. So it's a continuum. 3 words, and again, you know, there are no restrictions too much, but would invite to stay to 3 words. Wonderful. And then there is the fourth line, which then is already 4 words. And it even goes deeper in that action you wrote before. So 4 words explaining even more what happened with the third line, sort of. I like your energy here. And so we are at the end of the 5th line, which is basically 1 word closing the whole thing. And I give you a second to bring that word at the end. And if you wish, and it would be great pleasure to read some of these poems in chat if you put them in. So I give you a little bit of seconds to finalize that thought. Thank you very much. And I don't see yet the beauty in the chat of these poems, but I saw, Oliver, you were writing something for sure, and Valerie and Septi. So would there be, oh, it's coming in. Okay, that's wonderful. So I'm just going to read them loud because YouTube viewers might not see them. So for example, yeah, I'm just going to say, so for example, Oliver just put in inspiring the ocean beneath the waves from corals to ice breath. Then Valeria says, mystical, blue deep breathing methodologically in and out continuously. We also, Catriona is sharing, fresh, the water, splish, splash, bubbling on the little pebbles, dissolving. And then Ellen here, crisp and cold, the water surface brings cool relief below the surface darkness, a swim. And then also here comes Septian, calm, the breeze flowing through here, reminiscence of my childhood life. And we also have Teresa saying, comforting, the blues brings together collectively gratitude. Oh, it's wonderful. So I'm very, very grateful you took that chance, and it's possible. 5 minutes and we made a beautiful poem. So I turn to you, Valeria. What comes next?
So next we have a panel discussion. So I'll stop sharing so we can see faces. And then I think, Bybee, you're going to kick us off with the panel discussion.
Wonderful. Yes, I will do so. And I see the people are still putting the poems. So thank you very much for those. And I hope you enjoyed it. There is this sharing we all did about engagement, but as Oliver also said, we will discuss a little bit more deeper what it takes and what skill set maybe is needed. And I would like to turn now to Oliver a bit about this element of sort of industry, engaging with industry and with governmental sector. What is maybe the learning or maybe encouragement for other Mission Ocean projects and other projects just generally, where to meet? What is the best venue to go to when we talk about, industry or or government sector, or municipalities? What is that setting or that festivity where to join and meet other types of audiences like these? So I'm just wondering, maybe from your experience, if you could share and maybe encourage people to join certain events if they want to reach these stakeholder groups.
Thanks, Bybee. So I'm going to give a multi-layered response, and based on, I think it will depend on who you're seeking to approach. So if I take an example of engaging with a local fisherman, then you need to be going and engaging with them in their own space. So that means making the effort to go to the port, to engage with them personally, whether it be on the wharf, on their vessel, or a local venue nearby. So you've got to step out of your comfort zone, out of your area of expertise. But then if you're going to more municipalities, then you've got to go to their offices or arrange meetings that were again in their area of comfort. And again, with politicians, you're not going to have politicians or policymakers necessarily coming to you. So again, you have to be reaching out. The common theme being really that you have to put yourself outside of your normal boundaries. You need to make yourself uncomfortable. And each of the times you go to these meetings or these levels of engagement, I think the starting point should be listening. So you want to go there and you're trying to find out what their concerns are, their drivers and barriers are to engage, because you're trying to look for common ground to start the discussion. And then you obviously have to starting point of what you want to talk about, but you don't go there with a preconceived ideas of what you want to get out of it. You need to go there quite open-minded. And I think people need to, certainly from an innovators and researchers perspective, be much more cognizant. And I think we are moving that way now, where it's not just empirical science, but a recognition of local and traditional knowledge, and the incorporation that knowledge comes in all forms. So a scientist that might know about restoration may not know the details that the local community group knows, because they've been living there for, have a history and have lots of information. And it might not be in the traditional qualitative sense, but we need to see how we can join the empirical science with this local traditional knowledge, but certainly coming with a clean slate and with ears open and no preconceived ideas, but starting the discussion in places where they feel comfortable to open up. Don't try to get, for example, a local community group to come to a local city to have a meeting, or don't try to be sending emails to groups that don't use emails. They prefer a phone call. So you have to make sure that your messaging and the style of messaging aligns and meets the people that you're trying to engage with.
Thank you for this. Also, while I was listening, and I was looking also to Valeria about these places, because I also know, you know, you sometimes also mention the ocean days, and there's these key events. So I'm just wondering, maybe Valeria, if you could comment about that. And while I also would like to take the opportunity, as Patricia remind me, about this quick quiz, which will go in parallel as Patricia going to open this quiz. It will show up at some point. So audience, please bear with us that it's these are questions which we'd like you to answer in during this 20 minutes. So take that time as well. But back to the question, Valeria, if there's something some people would like to learn about where to actually go to and what are these key events and venues to be engaging with other stakeholders, especially from the policymaker side.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think again, there's quite a few places to go. First of all, it's I guess to get an understanding of what it is you intend or want to intend to do as an action, or what kind of influence do you want to have or impact you want to have. So obviously, as kind of I think Ollie was touching upon, you have different layers. So you can start at your local municipality level. So you could go to your town hall or to your city hall, and where they hold events. They invite the public for input. You can sign up to their email list to provide input on topics that they launch. You can also ask for meetings with your representatives, because they are there to work for you. So you have every right to ask for meetings, to see them in person. And then, of course, there are big events planned. A lot of times, again, you can sign up to those through the EU dashboard, saying that you're interested to join some of these events, and then you'll be informed of when they happen. Of course, there's normally cost involved. They are free to attend, but they might not be in your local area. So you might have to travel to another country to go to them. So you might want to consider that. And then there's usually several hundred people going. So it might not be, it's a great way to get informed on a lot of topics, but it might not be the best place for you to have an actual contact and be heard by your government officials, because there's so many people already on stage, if you will. But I think what's key to remember is that if you are wanting to interact with policymakers, it's very important to have a very good, solid understanding of policy processes. Do come prepared. Show that you know what you're talking about. Really inform yourselves regarding the legislation, the law that you're interested in. For example, let's say the nature restoration law, and you have some points or some ideas about that, or the common fisheries plan. You want to show that you're informed. Also, it's important to be a friend and a critical ally, if you will, to policymakers. So you want to come offering actionable recommendations or suggestions, and being a critical friend, in the sense of saying where you see gaps or what's not working in your local area. Come with concrete examples. Just know and be prepared that policy is fast-paced. The political environment is extremely complex, and your political officials are having to wear a lot of hats and are being pulled in so many directions. And unfortunately, oftentimes who's yelling the loudest and who's bringing the greatest funds kind of gets the limelight. So maybe, think about how, if you want to really push something, how you might have to get supporters on board. Maybe you can go out and talk to your local businesses to also get their support. So that just makes it more clout, behind you. So yeah, I'll stop there because I could go on. Thank you.
No, thank you. No, I think these are really relevant and timely matters to discuss, as we do say that these actions are needed and this cooperation is needed, but I think these tips are really important to actually know what's the starting point. So thank you for sharing that both. And now, Septian, you also mentioned the youth, and I also wrote down the sentence about, you know, the kids, and the kids are always active, and I was wondering about yeah, the way when you approach the schools or the teachers, was there a particular element you thought, okay, now we really need to, yeah, change the way we write about, you know, ocean or things? Can you explain a bit more how that journey was?
Okay, so I think that you mentioned and also directly to our previous summer school camp, right? So yeah, it was kind of bit difficult at the first time, and it was supposed to be launched before the summertime, just because there was like a scheduling conflict with the school, so we have to turn our table and try to find the other ways to go to carry out our citizen engagement. First, what we would like to do is that trying to collect and also identify more other summer schools that are still available during this time. And it was kind of a bit difficult since most of the schools are already occupied and not most of them are kind of welcome to our initiative. And then once we got a green light from one school, we try and they provide us with some details of the children and also their activities. So once we heard this, it was kind of a bit difficult for us since we have to cover at least two different groups of children. Firstly, from 5 to 10 years old, which are mostly they are active, like I said, and they didn't want to stick around and listen to our workshop, right? So which means we have to find the other way to engage with them and also get their participation and get their attention. So therefore, we came up with another ways like going to give them kind of storytelling and ask them how should and ask them to participate and also reading the booklet that we have with us, and then to get them involved most intensely with our activities, we try to uh, ask them to paint together in our mural that we have prepared. And then obviously we will ask them to give kind of message to them, message to what they think about our ocean, and also what should we do, how to protect our ocean. And that's one of the challenges that we faced during the previous workshop. And then for the older children, as they are kind of organized and they're calm enough, so it is a good kind of our main audiences for our Blue Economy workshop. And there was like, since it's going to be like a long presentation, and we had for about 4 hours to explain to them, so it's means that we have to at least put something kind of interactive way. So we decided to come up with these card games where we turn into only for about at least for about 30 minutes. And I think that because of the previous presentation that kind of related to our blue economy, and we try to adapt and also adjust the equations and also the answer for these card games. I think, yeah, that's from my
No,
side.
no, thank you, Septian. And I see Valeria, you have a hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think for me, this, I just wanted to kind of bring this up, and I'm curious to hear all of your ideas or thoughts on this. But obviously, we use this terminology, stakeholder engagement, which we're given by the EU, right? And but I find it quite confusing because oftentimes I wonder, what do we mean by stakeholders? And especially when I hear Septon talking about children and so on and so forth, I just kind of wanted to make a little bit of a distinction between stakeholders, audience, and participants. So for me, my understanding of stakeholders are really they're different from audiences and participants in the first place. They have a direct interest and the potential to impact policy and project outcomes is what I really see as a stakeholder versus an audience, which is mainly someone who's receiving information from us. And then a participant is more someone like the school children, I would say, who take part in activities and perhaps decisions, but might not always have decision-making power. So children right now don't really have decision-making power. I think you have to wait till whatever, maybe 18 or 19 in Europe. I'm not sure when you're allowed to vote. But I just kind of wanted to speak about this because it's it's terminology we use so loosely, stakeholder engagement, and I find it very confusing. And when we talk about all this stakeholder engagement we've had with all of these different audiences that you've shared across this webinar, whether that's artists, whether it's people at events, whether at concerts, or or in schools, when we say stakeholder, it's not quite right for me, I guess, so yeah, I wanted to share that, and I'm just curious to hear other people's views and also the audience's views. Thank you.
Thanks for bringing this up, and I see Oliver already have a hand on. Would you like to comment on what Valeria was bringing up?
Yeah, thanks, Biba. I think value raises a fair point, but I think it's it's much more nuanced in my mind. Yes, stakeholders have a direct input. So when we talked about, and Valerie talked about, when you're engaging with people, you need to identify their drivers and barriers, and then what your value add is to them, what your proposition is. From an industry or a business perspective, they were looking at that value add, that return on investment, because that's their drivers and barriers, or it's their social license. And I use social license in this context on the basis that where Valerie described audience and participants, but I think it's more nuanced on the basis that those groups can influence what we term as the stakeholder, as those groups that have a direct interest. So yes, they may not have the kids, or maybe the general public might not have a direct interest, but they're going to influence a company that does have a direct interest. So there is a relationship, a causal loop there, and I think these causal loops are quite integral, understanding those loops, because the stakeholders will then subsequently direct and influence the decision makers, but ultimately they are reacting or dealing with the influences or the pressures that they're receiving, which I think can come from audiences and participants. An example of this would be where you have companies that go for green certifications, and they're going for that green certification, they're driving a decision point through governments, but the reason for their decision is because they're getting influenced by their audience and participants. And so I think the causal loop is a much more complex. The key is making sure that from a governance side, where obviously I worked by, but it's making sure there's clear roles and responsibilities and where those decision flows are on those causal loops. Because I think you can't, the decision makers, transformative decision makers now are already thinking about the influence that those kids are going to be exerting on their businesses or their governments or their votes, whatever their drivers might be. They're already thinking about that now in terms of their decision making now for 20, 30 years down the track in terms of intergenerational justice, things like that. Thanks.
No, thank you, Oliver. And actually, the question Valeria brought up, I'm also going to put in the chat one of the recent articles from our colleague David White, which actually looked at the language and the stakeholder terminology, and they came up with wonderful suggestions. So if you have this opportunity, please take a look at that. But also, when you were speaking, Oliver, I was thinking also on this idea, who decides that power, who has that, and I think that comes when I look at some of the activities of the empowerment of citizen science, for example. I very much look at it as more than just data gatherers, for example. That there is this curiosity, this discovery, which I think sometimes we do not need to wait for somebody to tell me to care. So I think this holding of the responsibility of the earth or of the world in a way, and I think that is something that that encouragement, for example, in the podcast, when people said you can be the local actor or local leader or initiator. And I think that is very important, that we do not necessarily need to wait for somebody to tell us to do something. We really can have that spirit of action. So I thank very much for this discussion. I think this deserves another weekly hour, but I think we are at the end of that. I see in the chat also Patricia says there has been input for the survey as well. But I bring then the microphone back to you, Valeria, if you want to comment for the ending part.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know if we wanted to quickly, does anybody from the audience have something they would like to share, or a citizen engagement event that they would like to share, or that they would like to get support from Blue Mission AA with? Please either put it in the chat or write to us later. I will share our email. Patricia, do you have some things that you want to share from the survey that came across before we close? If either want to share it in the chat or not. I'm particularly keen to know about, I think, number 4. She says 1 second here, she's putting things in, but number 4, the question was, when it comes to stakeholder engagement, what are the challenges from your point of view? And be keen to hear what the answers were on that. And yeah, so hopefully you've mentioned how you would like to get involved with us, or how we can support you also is another part of that. So I think Patricia's busy typing away. And while she's typing, I just wanted to, there we go, up online. So let's see here if I can make this out, because it's quite small for my eyes. There we go. Okay. Okay, so that's who's here. So we don't have any government. We have one NGO, private sector. We have a private sector, 3 from the private sector. Okay, thank you. What marine themed stakeholder engagement initiatives that you were involved in or know of that we could possibly help spotlight? So we've got, if you can keep scrolling up a little bit, maybe, okay, coastal resilience in Atlantic Ocean, I saw. Sorry, OceanoFit, connect fitness and marine conservation. Oh, interesting. Move for yourself and for the ocean. Matches, oh, I love that. Matches both EU for HL and EU Mission Ocean. That's really interesting, Petra. I use an app called Reward, which it gives me coins for just walking. I don't pay anything for this, just gives me coins for walking. And as I accumulate coins, I can then gift them as actual money to charities and projects that I support. So so right now there's not a lot of environmental projects, unfortunately, except for like spay neuter things for animals. So I gift it to that. But I would love to see, for example, some of these ocean projects being on this app, where we could then give these coins to these projects to carry on some of the valuable work that they're doing. And that might even be in monitoring or enforcement or something of like that sort, or citizen engagement or building capacity. Okay, thank you. Scrolling down, number 3, how would you like to, not too fast, sorry, Patricia. I didn't see the question there, but how would you like, can you scroll back down the other, yeah. How would you like to get involved with us? Okay. So I see, I like to offer my project portfolio management skills. Okay, yeah, fantastic. Fitness, okay, thank you, yeah. I'm already involved, yeah, I would like to receive more information, all right. And okay, so if you do have any projects that you do want us to highlight, or if you think there's ways we can support you, please do get in touch. So what are the challenges? So I hear fatigue, It's hard, the word cloud. I think it is a language, policy versus pragmatic, and understanding where your initiative matches the stakeholders' strategy. Yes. That would be interesting to know a little bit more about that. Stakeholder. So I see a lot of stakeholder fatigue. Okay, yes. There seems to be a lot of events, and yeah, it's and obviously oftentimes reaching out to the same audiences over and over again. So some of these people we probably are having some stakeholder fatigue. So, well, we're on the hour, so I just want to say thank you so much for participating. And just wrapping up here, you've heard about Blue Mission AA. It's been a fantastic 3 years, and by integrating basically science, innovation, governance, and citizen engagement together, we've been able to drive systemic change, and will continue to do so through other actions like the Blue Action AA project that has started, which will have open call announced in, well, beginning of December, where there will be quite a bit of money for community-led actions. So if you do have a community-led action, please come and check out Blue Action AA. We will have a launch of our website in November, end of November, beginning of December. But just keep following us on either Blue Mission AA or Atlantic International Research Center, or the Mission Ocean, and you will hear about the launch of that open call. And basically, yeah, so all of this work that's been happening not only over our project, but other projects that started a little earlier in the first phase of the Mission Ocean, so say for the past 3 or 5 years, has really been driving this systemic change to protect biodiversity, restore habitat, and help ensure a healthy blue future. So only together can we continue to build a resilient future for our oceans and waters by 2030. So it's all up to us, not just a project, but it's up to every individual. If you care about the ocean or your freshwater river or your creek in the back garden, please, get involved. Others will be willing to help out as well. I'm sure. So again, thank you very much, everyone, for being here. I also thank our speakers and my wonderful colleagues, which I've really enjoyed working with for the past 3 years. So, and this is us kind of not quite saying goodbye, because we're still going to be online for the next 3 or 4 years. So we will be here in the background, and we are going to be actively engaged in forthcoming and ongoing projects that we have. So thank you, everyone. I say goodbye.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
everyone.
everyone.
Thanks, Valerie.
Bye. Okay. Thank you, Ollie.